Hi, it's Cassie with Cassie's Parlor, and today we're going to make a really fun project for Christmas time. It could be for really any season. This particular thing is going to be a card and an ornament, so you're getting 2 for 1 in the project, and it's a really quick project to do. Super fun and easy. I've got lots of great graphics products here that we will go through, and so let's get to it. So first I'm going to show you what we're using. We've got shrink film. So shrink film comes in lots of different colors and in different ways. This one in particular is white, and it shows you all the different ways that you can use it. This one is metallic, so it's got silver and gold in it, and we'll be using the gold. We will also be using opaque white craft plastic for part of our project, and we'll be sticking some things down with the double tack mounting film. This is all from Grafix. We're going to start with the shrink film because that is really the focal point and the main part of our project. Okay, so first we've got the gold here, and if I bring it up and show you, it's a very pretty gold. And then here it is as, you know, stamped and shrunk. So I'm going to show you the before and after so you can kind of get an idea in your head. If you're thinking about doing a project like this, how much is it really going to shrink down after I bake it, so that you can gauge how large the image or the font or words or whatever you're using needs to be to get the final product that you want. So here's our star. I'm going to put it up here at the top so that we can have more room. I also have Merry and Bright. So all of these things have been die cut as well. So this is the die, just a regular starburst kind of die, thin metal wafer die, run it through a machine, cuts beautifully through the shrink film, okay? Then I also had this thin lit die that has Merry and Bright and some other stuff. I just used Merry and the word Bright, and I cut both of those out of the white shrink film, and here is the comparison to, you know, the original size that is die cut, and then once we shrink it down. And it's white, so it's hard for you to see. So I'm going to hold it in my hand here and hold it up into the camera a little bit closer so you can really see how much it shrinks down. So on the package it does say that it shrinks to 20% of the original size. And here I'll show you Bright real quick before we move on. This really helped me when I am working on a project. I usually will shrink it. I'll cut out what I want and then shrink it right away and see, is this still going to work for me? So anyway, so this is what we're working with. We've got gold and we've got white. I have Merry and Bright, but I'm just going to use one of them, but I wanted to kind of show you how they both look. And, you know, if you're going to do something like this, then you can see ahead of time how it looks. So the first thing I did, so these obviously are already baked, right? You can't come to my oven with me, and you probably don't want to, but this, you know, I'm going to walk you through the before, and then this is the after, so that you don't have to, you know, wait to see that. So this is the original star. This is going to be my ornament, and you notice that I did also put a hole punch in the top there so that our string can fit through once it's smaller, so that I can be an ornament. So I'm starting with the gold shrink film from the metallic package, okay? And I have die cut it with this starburst wafer thin die, and then I also punched a hole in the top. That is the first steps that have already been done. We all know how to die cut. You know, we all know how to punch a hole. I think we're good there. Okay, the next step I want to walk you through is how I added this really cool pattern to my star. So I have some stamps here, and if you're going to stamp on shrink film, you need to use Stays-On. Stays-On, regular, original, or the pigment will do. Any sort of solvent ink that works on non-porous surfaces will be fine for you. So I've got a pretty music stamp here as a background. I also have these numbers. That was just part of this set. I think this is a set from Prima, and this is from Tim Holtz here. So I'm just going to use these to create a fun background on my star, okay? And I'm also using StazOn Jet Black. Again, you can use any color you want. Just make sure it's a solvent ink so it will work with non-porous products, sorry. Okay. So I'm just going to ink this up really well. I feel like it's always time to re-ink my pad. All right, here we go. Oops, that's upside down. I guess it doesn't really actually matter if it's upside down. Okay, so we're just going to keep inking and going. I don't really care if it's perfectly straight or if it's fully inked even. You can do some, you know, you can stagger it like this. You can do second generation. Let's go down here. I just really want to make an interesting background and, you know, kind of vintagey, a little bit grungy. But you could also, you know, change this up and make this whatever style works for you as well. It doesn't have to be vintagey and grungy. This is just what I wanted to do. So, okay, we've got that. Now I want to add some of these numbers. I don't want to take it off of here though. They're a bunch of individual numbers, but I really kind of like them all being together. So I'm going to leave it on this whole sheet here. And I'm just going to put some StazOn ink right along the edge, and then I'm going to flip my star onto this. So this is, you know, this looks really nice like this with just the musical notes on here, but this is just going to add another layer of visual texture and dimension, kind of. And I'm definitely going to be doing, you know, second generation stamping. I don't necessarily need it to go all the way across. I just want a few numbers here and there. Notice I haven't re-inked at all. Don't care. This is just adding a little extra texture to the background. So see how, and look at the numbers are even upside down. Perfect. I love it the way it is. I think it finishes it nicely. And that is all we need to stamp for this background. So obviously this one looks a little bit different just because I stamped it differently, but same concept here, same stamps. You know, we've got the music and we have the numbers. So that's all you have to do, and I would definitely recommend stamping your piece before you shrink it. Otherwise, you know, obviously, like, these numbers are smaller now because they've shrunk with the design or with the piece. But if you'd stamp this after, these numbers would be huge on this tiny little, you know, on this much smaller design. So, or star, I mean, sorry. So I definitely recommend stamping before you shrink it. So now this step is done. So this star is ready to go, and when I shrink it, it will look like this, okay? So now, I'm going to close this up for a minute. Okay, so I also have Mary, and I didn't do anything to Mary. I cut it out of white shrink film and just shrunk it. You definitely could put some color on here. You could take, like, if you had, you know, wanted to make it red or something, you could take your StazOn and just cover it with red. You could, there's lots of things you could do. You could color it with an alcohol marker. You could do lots of things. Probably you could use, let's see, alcohol ink if you wanted to do a little bit of, you know, make it look a little bit funky. So I just left mine white. I like it white on top of this gold star. There's a lot going on in the gold star, and the white looks really nice on it. Here we go. I'll show you just like that. So those are all ready to bake now, and when they're done baking, you'll end up with that. So now this really, I just need to glue together, add the string, and we have an ornament, and this is super cute. Can hang on your tree. It could be part of any sort of home decor decoration, but I thought if I want to give this as a gift, it would be really nice to present it as a card, and then they could just take the ornament off of the card and still have the card and the ornament, and that's just a nice way to present it. So I cut out some cardstock. Alright, so I've just got a standard size 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base cut out of Nina Cover Solar White. So it's nice and sturdy and thick. I really love using that cardstock just to make the card base, because it's really sturdy and it's going to, you know, stand up nicely and hold its shape really well. Then I just got some different, I got some pattern paper. It's got like a marbly effect and some gold foiling. Really, really pretty, kind of vintage looking. And then to layer on top of that, I have this green vellum. So this is just green vellum that's going to lay on top of here. We're going to do a little stamping on there just to add a little bit more interest, and then we'll move on to the next step. So on this green vellum, again, we're going to use the Stays-On ink, because vellum is a little bit trickier to stamp on. You can't really use dye ink because it'll just bead up and it will wash away when you touch it, and it'll smear. So you also need a solvent ink to stamp onto vellum. Okay, so we are going to use another stamp from this collection from Tim Holtz. This is a Christmas collection. Let's see what it's called for you. One second. It is called, oh, it's from Stamptember actually of 2018. So, but you could use any Christmas stamp you have. I'm using the Holly sprig from that set. I'm going to get my stamping block here. Any stamping block and any stamp will do. And I'm just going to put some holly around the edge to kind of frame it, okay? So I'm going to take my black again. Again, you can use any color of Stays-On that you want for sure. And it comes in lots of great colors. All right, and then I'm just going to go around the edge here and create a nice kind of frame. All right, and I'm just going to let it be a little bit random. Whoops. Making sure it's always kind of, you know, filling out the edge, going into the middle, and it's going to make a really nice frame for our focal point. This is so pretty, and I chose this particular stamp because it is vintagey looking holly from like an old, you know, an old card, old Christmas card. So we're just sort of making our own background paper here, right? And actually, I'm just going around the edges of it. All right, so I think we're good here. Let me hold this up so you can really see it. Look at how pretty that is with the Stays-On the vellum. All right, that's going to make a nice border for us. So for this part, I'm just using a tape runner because we're just adhering paper to paper. So you can definitely just use any kind of tape runner that you have to do this step. I cut, so this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I've cut this to 4 by 4 because I just wanted a square to sit on the top part of the card. Okay, so that this bottom part is open. So we've created a nice frame here, and then we're going to layer on top of it this next piece, which is our vellum. Okay, and for vellum, that's a little bit tricky sometimes. You don't want to just you know, use a tape runner and go around, because you will see the edges of the tape runner around it. So what I like to use is the double tack mounting film, and let me show you what that looks like. So we've got double tack mounting film here, and it comes in really nice big sheets, 9 by 12. This one has 3 sheets in the pack. They're 9 by 12. It's great because you can die cut out of it, so you get the exact shape of whatever you're creating. You can cut out whatever size, shape, anything that you need, and it makes an instant sticker. So I've cut it just smaller than this square, just with scissors, so that I can stick it to the entire back of my vellum, so that then the vellum becomes a sticker and you don't have to worry about seeing any of those adhesive lines. Because that really, for me, that's the trickiest part of vellum. And I just want to make sure that I have good coverage, and also, whoops, I'm off a little bit, so that's my fault. Here we go. Let's just cut this edge off here. No problem. It's hard to see sometimes sideways when you're not looking straight down at it. So here we go. So now I've got adhesive all over the back of this vellum. Okay, and I'm just burnishing to make sure it's stuck down really well. And then I'm going to peel off the other side of the backing. So now my vellum is just a very nice sticker. Okay, so now we're going to stick this onto our card. And sorry, I got to hold this up a little bit so I can center it. So this green vellum, okay, good. So this green vellum piece is a little bit smaller. You see I have a bigger border around here, and that's because I really wanted you to be able to see that gold foil paper behind there. So it's a slightly smaller than the other size. So now I've got a piece of white craft plastic. It's opaque white craft plastic from Grafix as well. And this pack is really nice because it comes in 25, there are 25 sheets and they're 9 by 12. So it's a really nice big size. You can cut it down, you can play on the whole sheet, you can do lots of different stuff with craft plastic. And it's very versatile. So, but today we're going to use it to make this same star, okay? Because what I want to do is, because we're going to put this star with this on top of here, right? And then they're going to take it off and put it on their tree or wherever as an ornament, and then they'll just be left with this. So I want to put this star behind here on the white craft plastic so that they still have that star to look at, and they have a completed card once they take their ornament off. So we're just going to make another layer of this star, but just on the opaque white craft plastic so that they can keep it on the card, if that makes sense. So what we're just going to do really quick is take a pen or pencil or whatever you have, and I'm just going to draw around the edges. Oh, don't move. So that we can cut out the same size, and I can't hold this down well enough. Here we go. So we can create the same size and shape as the ornament, and then we'll just cut it out and adhere it here, and then we'll decorate it, okay? So I'm just going to grab my scissors and fussy cut this real quick. Okay, so now we have the star. So now I do want to decorate it like I did for that one. But we, you know, obviously now you're going to see the difference because it will be a lot bigger. Okay, so we're going to take the StazOn, and I'm just going to smush this into here. We don't need to, doesn't need to be particularly perfect, right, or anything. We're just making a fun background on here, an interesting background. Here we go. Just want to have some of those original elements. And let's do a little bit of the numbers. So I'm going to re-ink this, just do a little bit of it, because this star obviously is a bit smaller now. And we'll just do a couple numbers here. Just a little bit right on the edge. That looks pretty cool. So now we can definitely see the difference if we stamp before or after it has shrunk. Okay, so I'll hold this up next to this one, and you can see there's a big difference there. Okay, so now we are ready to assemble the rest of our card. So first we're going to put this star on here, but we really do want to make sure that it's going to line up. So here's my hole for the ornament star. So I kind of want to sandwich these up together. I mean, you could try to, ooh, that might be pretty, to do it this way. So you have the white points behind it. I think I'm going to do that. I'm changing my mind, and I really like it like that. The hole is still at the top. This is the way it is. So now I can know that the 3/4, so this part is going to be at the top. I'm going to take my tape runner. Any kind of tape should work for this. This is a you know, obviously plastic kind of paper, but your regular tape runner adhesive should work for that. I've got some adhesive there, so I'm going to kind of move this over a little bit. And then I do want it centered, sort of anyway, in the middle of this border piece here, or this matted piece, since we have all that pretty holly going around it. And then of course this is going to go this way in the middle. But before we stick this down, we need to get some string into that piece, oops, so it can actually be an ornament. Okay, so I've got some really nice gold thread. It's very thin, but works perfectly for projects like this. And what I do when I'm going to use it as an ornament hanger, I like to double it up. So I just take a certain amount, fold it in half. I know it's kind of hard to see, but anyway, fold it in half so then you have a loop at the top here, and I put that loop through the hole very carefully, of course, because it's tiny. Okay, and then figure out how much of a loop, you know, you want for the ornament topper, and then there we go. All right, so now the reason I used the opaque white craft plastic here and not just a piece of paper is because this needs to stick here to present to the person you're giving it to, but then they need to be able to take it off and hang it, right, and not affect the card. So we are going to use glue dots, because this will allow us to put it on the back of our ornament piece, and they can roll it off and peel it off really easily, and it's not going to affect the card either, okay? So just take a glue dot, whatever size you have. It could be small. These are kind of big. These are the large ones, but you could even use a small one. Either way is going to work just fine, okay? And then later, they can pull it off. It's not going to affect the star behind it because that's made with the opaque white craft plastic, and that will hold up nicely. And it can roll off of your ornament so that there's no sticky left over. And then we're just going to adhere the Mary to the front. Okay, now Mary is very intricate and detailed, right? So we need an adhesive that's just going to stick where we want it and not, you know, gunk up the rest and be all over the place. So I'm going to use Grafix Artist Tack to do this. So I'm just going to get a sheet out. These are really nice because they're dry adhesive. They come in this nice sheet. They're 25 in this pack and they're 5.5 by 9 inches. So the way that you use Artist Tack is you keep these sheets together all the time until you're using them, okay? You peel up one side and the other side, I don't know if you can tell, but there are a bunch of little dots of adhesive, okay? So then you take your intricate die cut or whatever you're doing that you need special, you know, just adhesive in specific places, and you stick down your piece and you really burnish it, rub it nicely in the area where your die cut is. Okay, and then lift up this top carrier sheet and then lift your piece out, and now I just have adhesive, little adhesive dots all over where the die cut is and not anywhere else. Okay, so that is a really nice feature of the Artist Tack. Allows you to really use your die cut pieces and not have to worry about having adhesive everywhere. So I really just want to stick this right to the center of that ornament. So look at how pretty that looks. All right, so now to finish this card off, we really just need a sentiment at the bottom. I have this vintage Christmas stamp set that has a bunch of phrases and sentiments in them. And I have this one here that just says Christmas, and up here says Merry. So I thought, what if we just put Christmas down there to finish it up? And for this, I think I will use a green ink. Because we're stamping on paper, we can use any kind of ink we like, and the green will tie back to this background and will look very nice. So I've got the Rustic Wilderness Distress ink here. Okay, so now I'm just going to ink up my stamp and put it right down here in the corner. Really pretty. It says Christmas, and that is that. So now our project is complete. We have a beautiful card that we can give someone, write a nice message on the inside, And then they also have an ornament that they can just very easily peel off of here, take off that glue dot, and then hang it on their tree. And they've got a card and an ornament. So I hope that you enjoyed this project and found some inspiration today. If you'd like to learn more about graphics products, you can visit graphicarts.com. And if you like this video and you'd like to see more, please subscribe to Kassy's Parlor channel and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.